जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। So we are continuing with Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. Text number 21, chapter 3. Apanena kaile dharma shikhanaya yaya eita siddhanta gita bhagavate gaya. Synonyms: apane, personally; na kaile, if not practiced; dharma, religion; shikhana, the teaching; nayaya, does not advance; a, this; ta, certainly; siddhanta, conclusion; gita, in the Bhagavad Gita; bhagavate, in Srimad Bhagavatam; gaya, they sing. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. This conclusion is indeed confirmed throughout the Gita and Bhagavatam. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So as we can see, the sum and substance of this verse is practice before you preach. So if we are telling others to chant, we need to be chanting first before we can preach it to others. And here in the translation, it says that this particular aspect is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam also, which means if we are asking others to read, we should be reading the scriptures first. If we are asking others to follow rules, we should be following the rules and regulations first. So the bottom line is that we need to practice what we preach. Now one may say, I am practicing, but I have not become perfect. So should I preach or not? What do you think? Yes, we should still preach. Whatever we have learned so far and whatever we are practicing so far, that we can preach. So Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna that one who preaches my glories is most dear to me, which means Krishna wants us to distribute knowledge, and at the same time, he wants us to practice also. Just like I usually give this example, if the father is smoking, cannot ask the son, do not smoke, right? There was this lady, she was very frustrated with her child because the child would not eat anything except sweets, only sugar, sugar, sugar. And that is not good for the body. So she took him to a saintly personality and said, Dear Sadhu, please tell my son to not eat sugar. And what did the sadhu say? You come after 1 month. So the lady was confused. Why 1 month? But you have to respect, what the sadhu is saying. So she took the child away, and sure enough, after 1 month, she came back. She came back and said, I'm requesting you again, once again, please tell him not to eat sugar. And immediately the sadhu said, Beta, don't eat sugar. It's not good for the body. Now the beta had to listen. Why? Because it's coming from a sadhu, right? We respect the sadhus and we obey them. So the mother was confused and she said, I asked you the same thing a month ago. Why is it that you asked me to wait 1 month? Why? Because he himself was eating sugar. He said, how can I preach what I'm not practicing? So it took me 1 month to stop eating sugar. So I have to practice before I preach. So before even giving instructions, he had to give up sugar. So it's important that we distribute this knowledge to as many as possible. Now we have started going on Harinam, and last Friday, not this Friday, not yesterday, but the previous week, Pavitra Lalita distributed more than 10 Bhagavad Gitas in just 1 hour. Just 1 hour. Total 25 were distributed, but just like that, approaching and giving. Now, giving Bhagavad Gita, before doing that, you need to have one for yourself too, right? You should be having it at home, practicing it, reading it. Only then you can distribute it to others, right? And explain to them. And that is where Srila Prabhupada says the potency comes. It is not our efforts that help us to do that. No. It is Krishna from within. This is what I had learned long time ago, that when we go for book distribution, and I was telling Pavitra Lalita also, she said, oh, this is the first time I'm standing here distributing books. I've never done that before. What should I do? I said, think of Krishna and let him do the job. We should not think I am distributing. It is Krishna from within my heart and the heart of other living entities who are passing by. Let Krishna speak to them. Oh, go take this book from this lady, right? So this is what Krishna from within is doing for us. He wants us to preach, but at the same time be dependent on him. So just like we have gathered here today, for what? To hear Krishna Katha. This is pleasing to Krishna. And this is pleasing even to the spiritual master. Why? Because we are distributing, we are hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada says, purity is the force. Many times we may have a lot of people sitting and we may be speaking to them, but if there is no purity in the heart, the message will only be words. It will be just hearing from one ear and taking out from the other. So purity is the force and books are the basis. So this is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us. And purity comes from attentive chanting, associating with devotees, reading the scriptures, doing some seva. All these together, the whole process brings about purity. And as Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells to Arjuna that I am there in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge, right? Sarvasya chaham hridhi sani vishnu. So we desire, if we have the desire, I want to distribute this knowledge. If we have the desire, I want to make my chanting attentive, then Krishna from within is going to help us. And it's not just that we are the only ones who want to be self-realized, but there are many souls in Atlanta who want to be self realized also, but they don't have any access to that, right? That is why all of you are doing preaching programs, inviting others to come and hear Bhagavad Gita. You know, sometimes it's the children's classes, it's the adults' classes, family class. It is just to preach. Why we are doing that? Because we are practicing it ourselves. So here it says, unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. So this is what we learn from here. Now let's take the example from Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj, 5 years old. I'm not going to ask you how old all of you are, because I'll be the oldest here, I guess. So 5 years old, he was practicing it and he was preaching it to his classmates, right? That is a wonderful example of Prahlad Maharaj who practiced what he preached. Let's go to the next verse, number 22. It's from the Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham. Translation: whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Chapter 4, verse number 7. So, decline in religious principles, we can see that in Kali Yuga right now, right? Rise of irreligion. And that is when Krishna descends himself. He came 5,000 years ago, but then he came again 540 years ago. Why? Because as the Kali Yuga is progressing and everything is going towards degradation, that is why Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give us the what you call a boat which in amidst the hurricane, he's given us a boat of Krishna consciousness where we can, very smoothly cross this ocean of Kali Yuga of this nation. So, rise of irreligion, and that is when he comes. So, when it is said Krishna comes on the 28th millennium of 7th Manu in one day of Brahma, and that is scheduled. This is when he comes. But he can come any other time also. It's up to his will, his desire. If he wants to come, he'll come. He doesn't have to wait for the 28th millennium and 7th Manu in one day of Brahma. He doesn't need to do that at all. And he comes basically to protect his devotees and to annihilate the miscreants, which is the next verse, and also to uh, again revive religion, again give us Krishna consciousness. And these principles, they are laid down by Krishna himself. That is what he's told us, right? Prabhupada also has taught dharma, religion means dharma, dharma means laws of God, and only God can give those. What are those called? The laws. Only he can give us the laws. No one can manufacture the laws that are being given by God or make it different, like make some changes, right? Just like in cooking, we make some changes. Instead of this, let me add that or this or something, to change the flavor. We cannot do that with dharma. If there is a discrepancy, then a religion rises. And then only Krishna can come and fix it. He's the one who makes the laws, and these are his direct orders. And the highest principle of religion of dharma is Sarva Dharman Parityagya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Suchaha. Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion, all varieties, whatever we may be doing. He says, just surrender unto me alone. And what will be the result? He says, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. I will remove all the sinful reactions that we have accumulated since time immemorial. He's going to make the slate clean. It'll become zero. And he says, Ma Suchaha, do not fear. So Krishna comes down. When he came down 540 years as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is to guide us, to lead us back to Godhead, to show us the way how we can become a good devotee, a perfect devotee, and go back to the spiritual world. He shows us how to be obedient to his laws. Sometimes people don't like laws, right? So why so much? Why there are so many rules and regulations? It's a headache. I remember someone I was preaching to, and gradually was saying, okay, now you start chanting. Then after some time, okay, now you give up meat eating. Okay, then after some time, okay, now you start offering food. And then, okay, now, so step by step by step. And then she stopped me. She said, how many more? One after another, you're telling me first you said chant, now you are saying give up meat, and now you are saying only veg, no onion garlic, and now you are saying offer, and then please tell me now only all the whole list. I want the whole list. I said that list is never ending, right? Gradually we have to do one thing after another as we progress, just like child is in first grade, learns 2 plus 2 equals 4, and then the teacher says, oh, now 2 minus 2 equals 0. He said, hold on, first you said 2 plus 2 is 4, now you're going somewhere else. Yes, it's gradual. Gradually when you come to higher grades, you will learn calculus, right? So there is no end. You just keep learning, 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 but we learn it very systematically. It's not that like you were distributing Bhagavad Gita and giving and say, okay, from tomorrow, no meat eating, no fish, no eggs. That person will say, take your Bhagavad Gita back. I am going. I don't need anything. This is too much, right? We cannot do that. So Prabhupada says we have to preach according to Desha Kala Patra, according to time, place, and circumstance. So but important point is to us practicing, to us being obedient to the laws of the Supreme Lord, and also his representative, the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master. Because whatever the Guru is saying, it's already there in the Shastras, and it is already being given by the sadhus, the acharyas in the parampara. So this is the verse from Bhagavad Gita. The next verse, number 23, is also from Bhagavad Gita, verse number 8 from chapter 4. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Translation: to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, text 22 and 23 was spoken by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 7 and 8, and text 24 and 25, which follow, are also to be found in the Bhagavad Gita, that's chapter 3, verse 24 and 21. So one may say, why is Bhagavad Gita there in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Why? There should be only Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? But they are all interconnected. They are all interdependent. Whatever Krishna taught us, he has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and teaching us the same thing. So obviously the verses also are going to be the same. So Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he's taking the relevant verses from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and relating them here in Chaitanya Charitamrita to revive our memory. How many of us remember the whole Bhagavad Gita? No, we don't. Because it's been a long time since we spoke about Bhagavad Gita, right? And it's been a long time since we spoke about Srimad Bhagavatam. We finished Srimad Bhagavatam a long time ago. Do we remember anything? Yes, simple things we remember. There was Prahlad Maharaj in Bhagavatam. There was Dhruva Maharaj in Bhagavatam, right? Who else was there? There was Narad Muni in Bhagavatam. Vamana Dev was there. Huh? Kapila Muni, Matsya Avatar. So all those incarnations were there. But most of it is out of our memory. We have forgotten because it's been a long time. How many of us remember what we heard last Saturday? Forget last Saturday. How many of us remember what we did the first verse today? It's gone, right? Memory is very poor in Kali Yuga, very, very poor. So that is why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is repeating it so that we can revive our memory. So here it says to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. Who are pious? They are already mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, right? Chatur Vidha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritino Arjuna. Sukritino means pious people. Four kinds of pious people who surrender unto Krishna, right? Those are Artha, Arthato, Arthati, Jnani cha, Bharatarish. So there is one who is in distress, one who is wanting money, one who is inquisitive, and one who wants knowledge. So these are the pious people. Krishna calls them pious people. They are the ones who surrender unto Krishna. And why does he come? To re-establish the principles of religion. He says, I myself appear millennium after millennium. And we have also learned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Dushkritinas, right? Four kinds who do not surrender to Krishna, Dushkritina, right? They are the ones who do not care for Krishna consciousness. They just want to eat, sleep, and be merry. Just let me do my stuff at in this material world, to maintain this body, to feed this body, enjoy my senses, everything, and then finished. I don't need to do anything more. That is what they are called, Dushkritina. And Prabhupada explains in the purport that they are considered to be foolish and lowest among mankind. But those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness, they are considered a sadhu. Even though we may not have long beard, of course, ladies don't have, some do have beard, but we don't have long beards, or we are not wearing saffron clothes, or no, that is not the description of a sadhu. Yes, the sadhu does wear those clothes, but here Prabhupada says those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness, they are considered to be a sadhu. Now, if we are following Krishna consciousness, and if we are considered sadhu, then what do you think we should do? We have to be very vigilant, because people are watching us, they are seeing, because we are setting an example, they want to see how is our behavior, right? Here we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And when we are dealing with others, we are upset with them, we are angry with them, we are insulting them. No, that is not setting a good example at all, right? We have to, our, when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, our activities should be such that they match what we are practicing, what we are learning. So that is very important. So here, Krishna comes to protect his devotees, the sadhus, and to annihilate miscreants like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and all those. And of course, Krishna has many agents to do this job. He doesn't have to come just to kill the demons. No, his representatives can do that, right? But he personally comes to deliver. So, like for instance, when he came down 5,000 years ago, he didn't come to kill Kamsa. He came to deliver Devaki, right? Similarly, when he came as Narsingha Dev, he didn't come to kill Hiranyakashipu. He came to protect Prahlad Maharaj. That is more important. So this is how we understand that Krishna, he comes to mitigate the miseries of his devotees, pure devotees. And similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 540 years ago to mitigate the sufferings, like he delivered Jagai and Madai. So Prabhupada says there are many Jagai Madais right now in Kali Yuga, right? But one may say, but I am not Lord Nityananda or I am not Haridas Thakur that I can deliver them. No, we do as much as is possible with our sincere efforts. Let's go to verse number 24. Verse number 24 is again from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 24. Utse deyor ime loka na kuryam karma ched aham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyam imha prajaha. Translation: if I did not show the proper principles of religion, all these worlds would fall into ruin. I would be the cause of unwanted population and would spoil all these living beings. This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is coming to preach, but he needs to practice also, even though he's God, because he wants to set an example. He wants people, he says that if I don't follow religion, others will not follow it, right? And then what will happen? There will be unwanted population and there's going to be ruination. So, following rules and regulations is important, but it is not all in all. We should not become fanatic that, oh, this rule is there, this is, you should be facing east, or you should be sitting this, or you should be, those are rules and regulations, good, but we should not just focus only on those rules and regulations. When Krishna comes down, he deals with such rules and regulations in order to maintain the prestige and necessity of such important performances. He is doing that, but we should not become fanatical about it. If a living entity is misguided, indirectly it's the responsibility of Krishna. If the disciple is, misguided, indirectly it's the responsibility of the spiritual master. So we don't want that to happen, right? We, because of our um, actions, it should not reflect on the spiritual master, right? If we are doing, say, if we are not following the rules and regulations, of course the spiritual master indirectly becomes responsible. We have to become responsible disciples, we have to become responsible citizens, so that the spiritual master does not, have to face that indirectly. So here it says that there would be ruination and unwanted population. So these rules and regulations are there to help us, to guide us on the spiritual path, how we can progress spiritually and not get lost in these rules and regulations and forget the main purpose, which is love for Krishna. Why are we doing Bhakti Yoga? Why do we associate? Why do we come together and hear Krishna Katha? So that our goal is to develop love for Krishna. And Prabhupada says in association of devotees, the progress is faster rather than just being ourselves. Let's take the last verse for today, number 25. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tat eve taro janaha Sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. The translation: whatever actions a great man performs, common people follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. This is chapter 3, verse 21 from the Bhagavad Gita. So, Prabhupada says in the purport that people in general require a leader, right? It makes sense. You have to have a leader, just like the students, they go to school, and if there's no teacher, what will happen? Chaos. So just like the students need a teacher in the classroom, similarly the society also needs a leader. So who should be that leader? One who teaches by practical example. Just like when Krishna came 5,000 years ago, with this practical example, he showed us how one should behave. Similarly, when he came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed by his practical example. And that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita: whatever actions a great man performs, common people follow. But what if the leader is not following? What do we do? Right? There will be ruination, there will be unwanted population. So the leader should teach by practical behavior. So, just like a leader, even the spiritual master teaches by his example. And also, the teacher in the school should teach from example by personal. So, leaders, gurus, preachers, teachers, they all should be ideal in their behavior. They should behave properly before teaching. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, the leaders are not like that. They are not Krishna conscious. And because they are not Krishna conscious, they are not able to teach Krishna consciousness to the general public. So the ideal teachers, preachers, gurus, or leaders, they should follow the principles that are given in the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and not manufacture their own rules and regulations. That is not permissible at all, because these rules are already given to us by Krishna. So one should follow in the footsteps of these great devotees and not imitate, and that is how we can progress in the spiritual life. I was listening to a very nice lecture where he was saying that this material world is like a hospital, and all people living in this material world, they are diseased, they are sick, right? So just like in the hospital there are diseased people, and if one of the patients starts vomiting, does the doctor slap him and say, what are you doing? No, the doctor knows he's a patient, he is sick. So obviously he is going to throw up or whatever it is, right? So we must consider that we are in this hospital, we all are patients, and we are all here to be treated. Now it is up to each individual patient whether they are taking the medication and following the diet or not, right? The doctor cannot be on the head of the patient because there's so many patients. So if we are in, relating to people in this material world, first of all, we should understand everyone is sick, right? That we should understand. And so if there is a behavior of other people behaving with us in a certain way, we don't get angry. Why? Because that person is sick, I'm also sick. That person has anartha, I also have anarthas, right? So instead of saying, doctor, 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 look, that patient has vomited, no, I have to see, am I vomiting? What kind of anartha do I have? So first, we need to make ourselves well before we can start making others well. That is why the first verse that we did today was practice before we preach. So that is very, very important. So our desire should be that we want to take everyone to Krishna. Somehow or the other, just like Prithvi Maharaj, what did he do? He followed the desire of Krishna. He started out to perform 100 horse sacrifices. He completed 99, but the 100th horse sacrifice would not happen. Why? Because Indra was doing the mischief, right? He was taking away the last horse and was not allowing. Why? Because if Prithu Maharaj had completed 100 horse sacrifices, he would become Indra. And how can the existing Indra want someone else to become Indra? That is not possible. So he was doing that, right? But then finally, Lord Vishnu appeared and told Prithu Maharaj, why do you want the 100th sacrifice? You are in a better position than Indra. Why do you want to become Indra? Right? So Lord Vishnu told him, my desire is that you don't perform this 100th sacrifice. And immediately Prithu Maharaj said, sure. He immediately accepted the desire of the Supreme Lord. His 100th sacrifice was desiring what Krishna desires. That was his yagna in a way. That was a sacrifice he performed for his Supreme Lord. So it is up to us, how eager are we to follow what Krishna has given us and to follow his desire and become dear to him. He says in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly, anyone who preaches my glories is most dear. Most means there is no moster and mostest after that. Most means most. That is topmost, right? So that is what he says. So we must find somehow the other, some way to give this knowledge to others as much as possible. Why is Srimad Bhagavatam so much, relating pastimes of Krishna and his devotees also? Why? So that we can get attracted to Krishna through those pastimes and also learn from those pastimes, right? Like Duryodhana, he was a very envious person. Yes, right? So when we hear about Duryodhana, does that mean we become envious? We learn from there? No, no. Duryodhana, he was envious, so he couldn't even sleep at night. He was so disturbed because of that anartha in his heart. But we may have a doubt in our minds, that, oh, Duryodhana was envious. Am I envious? Let me look into myself and see, am I envious? So this is how we try to remove that anartha. But what will the mind say? No, 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 no. You envious? No, you are a pure devotee. You're such a nice bhakta. You're doing this, and this. How can there be envy in your heart? Immediately you know that there is some anartha in the heart, right? Some anartha. Like I was talking to one person who I used to preach to many, many years ago, and I just met him in the temple and I said, so how is everything? How is spiritual life? Perfect. I'm like, oh, in Maya. Surely in Maya. So then my second question was, oh, does Maya bother you? No, Maya under my control. I said, gone case. If we think that way, I am not envious, I am not proud, I am not in Maya. Definitely, I am in Maya. So we have to be doing some introspection. Try and evaluate our progress. Am I on a plateau? Am I just on the same thing, just minimum, bare minimum chanting, bare minimum reading or no reading, and just, going on and on with the life? No, that introspection is very necessary. If we cannot evaluate ourselves, then we should take help from a senior devotee to evaluate ourselves. Then we will realize, oh, I have a lot of anarthas in my heart and I really need to work hard on it. So just like verse number 25 says, become a leader. It may be just in the house, it may be in the family circle, friend circle, society, whatever it may be, we must act properly, work on ourselves. Like, sometimes you have that sign, work in progress, right? You should put it to a heart. I am work in progress. I am trying to progress, but at the same time, we should preach, have an ideal behavior, follow Guru Sadhu Shastra, follow the laws of the Supreme Lord without any deviation, and have a strong morning sadhana. Then Guru and Krishna will be able to help us. They only want to see our sincere endeavor, how we are trying, how much are we trying, are we putting all the effort that is necessary. If that is not the case, that means we need to really work on ourselves. So, this is how we complete today's